Alright, so I want to show you today, just real quickly, how I do some of these snowflakes. I get a lot of questions, and I have folks ask me how I get them to look like this, and some different variations on them, and they're really easy to work with, and depending on what you're going for and what look you're going for, there's a lot of different ways that you can do these snowflakes. So I'm just going to show you just a couple real quick ways, kind of based on this one and how I do this, and then something like this, how I get those colors to look like this on these Christmas ornaments. And of course I got my resin mixed up, and it's pretty much bubble free at this point. And I've also I've got 1 cup of white that I've added some of this Let's Resin Ocean White to this, and so I can get that white color in there. So it's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple procedure, and it just depends on, you can add any bunch of colors that you want together. I'm going to do a purple and green one, and for this, the first thing I do is I spray the mold with 99% isopropyl, and I just drop a drop of purple wherever I want to put it. I'm going to go with on the outside edges of this mold, and the mold looks like this. So I'm dropping the purple here, and then I'm going to go inside of here with the green. And when you see what happens here, you'll understand how this works. So now I've got that purple and green poured into there. I didn't want to tilt it too much because I don't want those colors to mix together. So once I've got that mixed, the next thing I'm going to do is just going to take my clear resin, and I'm going to pour it into the mold. And as you can see, those colors will blend and move together. And you want to pour enough in here, because at the top of this mold, if you're not careful, at the top of this mold you got this little part where it has to fill up right here, so that you have something to tie them and hang them up with. Okay, so as you see that now, and as you see it with the resin in there, you see those colors starting to kind of work together. And I'm going to let this sit, and I'm going to leave this overnight, and it will come up with something similar to this one. This one's, I've got a lighter green in there, but this one is based on the same principle. So it's going to do, none of these are ever going to come out exactly the same. So when this one gets done, it's going to have that dark green and that purple colors together. Now for the ones like this that have the white center, what I do with that is it's very simple. And like I say, I spray these with 99% isopropyl. And I'll tell you why I do that so much is because that isopropyl allows that resin to flow into these smaller areas, especially into that top part where the hanger is going to be tied on. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to pour just the white just into that bottom portion, which is this portion of the snowflake. And then I'm going to come onto the outside edges like I did with the purple, but I'm going to hit this with red. And I'm going to just drop that red right in there. And I try to do 1 drop once in a while, and that's alcohol ink that I just put in there. And I just, just enough. And so then I'm going to come right over the top of that white, and this is going to give this a little bit of a different look, because when I did the other one, I allowed that white to kind of set up a little bit. This one's going to be a little bit different, because when you pour resin in on top of the white, it tends to kind of push it out and make it react differently. So this one's going to have a totally different look than this one in the end. So that's how I do that one. Now these different ones, like this one, what I did with this one was I mixed some alcohol ink into a cup, and let's go with purple this time. And I'm just going to put this purple. That one's not been opened yet, so let's get one of this. I'm going to put this purple right into the resin. And this is not alcohol ink. This is resin pigment. So it reacts just a tiny bit different than alcohol ink does. But it's still going to have that clear cast to it. So I mix this up, and I get that purple mixed up in that resin pretty good, and it's still going to be a little bit of a light color. I'm going to try to slide this over to the side without making a mess. And so once again, repeat, spray this with the 99% alcohol, and I'm going to add some gold glitter into this, because what's going to happen is, see, I've got this gold glitter here, and what's going to happen when I add it into that cup of resin, I'm going to mix that up a little bit and get that gold resin in there, or that gold glitter in there really good. And then, scrape my stick off here, I'm going to pour this into this mold. And what's going to happen is it's going to fill up this mold, and that gold glitter will, I typically don't like glitter to sink, but that gold glitter is going to sink as this heats up. That glitter is going to sink to the bottom and give me a purple snowflake that looks like this. So those are the general ways that I do these. Now you can take some, let's do it, yeah, you can take, I've got this eye candy blue. It's a really deep, rich blue, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into just a little bit into the cup, and I'm going to give that a good stir. And I've got that added into this cup, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stir that up real quick, and there is no limit on what you can do with these little Christmas tree ornament molds. I really like these. They're a decent size, they're easy to work with, and you can get a lot of good colors out of them. So let's do this. With this one, I'm going to take and pour, let's push this back a little bit so you can see it. I'm going to pour this white into this one, okay? And now what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to do this one just a little bit different. You know how I came into the white and I poured straight in? Now I'm just going to go on the outside edges of this where those little points are, and I'm going to pour. And you got to be careful because this will go kind of quick, so you got to kind of move kind of fast because each of those points is filling up with white as I do this. But as you can see, now I've got that kind of filled up, and I want to go back here where that little hanging piece is, and I want to make sure that that gets resin down in there so that whenever it sets up, it will, there, I went a little bit overboard there. And if you don't get it in there good, you can always take something and you can guide it to kind of help fill that space, because you don't want to overfill these because they're a little bit hard to clean up if you do overfill it. So that's how I do the molds, and you can do any variation that you want. You could take this purple and put it inside of a mold, and let me scoot you over here just a little bit. Put that purple in there, come back here with the blue just a little bit and fill these up, and that blue will trickle down into that mold, and you'll get the purple mixed with the blue